In this video, I want to go through the mystery box and start working on the actual firearm, displaying portion and potentially cycling. So basically the idea here is we have our weapon mesh component attached to our weapon attach component, and we are basically just going to have an array of data assets that we can loop through. And basically each time we, loop through to a different one, we go ahead and replace the mesh that is in the weapon mesh component. Now, for the time being, we're going to define, the array of weapons, that we can use to data assets inside the mystery box itself. However, I want to, in the future, probably actually after the mystery box is done, move it to project settings. So that way we can kind of tie, what weapons can be on specific maps and, that kind of stuff. We're not tied down to just, okay, we have a mystery box and here's all the weapons. You know what I mean? Or we have duplicates of this for each map, which in my opinion is just not a really good approach. So to begin, what we want to do is go to the header here and make a new entry. Can't speak. Make a new entry. This will be a T array of T object pointer of U primary data asset. And we're just going to call this one the weapon data assets. Now, what I want to do here is I want to preempt like basically when the mystery box is created, so to speak, I want to go ahead and load the firearms, like everything that's in here, all the weapons, into memory. Now, the way we're going to do that is simply in begin play. We want to go ahead and iterate over U primary data asset in weapon data assets. We want to iterate over each of these weapon data assets and load the visual asset bundle. Now, the reason we're doing that here is because otherwise we would end up having to load these pretty much every time we want to go use them. And when we go to use them, we could potentially miss, like it could take too long before it's loaded into memory and we could miss it. So we would have some cases where, the firearm just doesn't show. And I don't like that. So just when the mystery box is here, we're just going to simply load them. So this will be pretty simple. We want the U asset manager. Want to go ahead and get it. And we need to actually include the asset manager. So engine asset manager.h. And we want to we want to load a primary. Actually, we can load primary assets. That's a much better approach than doing it this way. I don't know why I didn't think about it. So the primary assets we want to load are going to be the weapon data assets. However, it takes in, as you can see here, AF primary asset ID. So we pretty much just need to get the asset IDs of each one of these entries here. So to do that, actually, I don't know if there's a way to really do that without iterating through, but we can have a T array, and this will be a F primary asset ID, and this will be we'll just do asset IDs. So, in asset IDs, let's go ahead and reserve the reserve, and the amount's going to be weapon data assets.num. And as we iterate through, asset IDs we want to in place the data asset get primary asset ID. And we can actually make this a constant. So this way we're basically just iterating over all of our weapon data assets and simply adding them to this array. So now for load primary assets, we can just pass in the asset IDs. Then for the bundles, we are going to use the visual bundle. Now, if you recall, let's actually head to the weapon module, go to the PDA, and here we have, asset bundles for animation and stuff like that, particles, so on and so forth. Now, if we go to the parent class, we have the firearm mesh under the visual bundle. So that's what we're going to be using. And I don't really care about anything else. I don't care about a callback or anything like that. I just want to load them. And that's quite literally just it. So Once we have that, we can go ahead and just kind of more or less write a little bit of a test logic to, kind of swap the firearms around, so to speak. So I'll do this in the onRep and just copy and paste this guy here so we can have this kind of loop. And let's do every half a second, we're going to run this. So let's set it to true to loop. And we're basically just going to more or less iterate down this array here. So int 32, let's just do weapon data index, set it to 0, and we're just going to increment it and check if it's beyond a range. So if the incremented weapon data index is greater than the, greater than or equal to weapon data assets.num, then we want to set it to 0. That way we can reset it. And if it's not, otherwise we're basically always going to have a valid index. So we're just going to kind of keep going from the start of the array to the end, back to the start, to the end, back to the start, to the end, so on and so forth. And here we want to go ahead and try to fetch the skeletal mesh from one of these data assets. So we need to get it. So primary data asset, let's do weapon data asset equals weapon data assets at weapon data index. So we have the data asset. Now, how do we get access to the mesh? Well, because we made it a separate module here, we don't have direct access to the weapon module or anything like that. We could, make a dependency to the plugin which implements SKG PDA firearm that we just looked at. But there's a way we can do this without having to go through and actually, add more dependencies, basically. So what we want to do is we want to first off go ahead and look at loading, just the assets. So asset manager dot get, and you can see we have, load primary asset, that kind of stuff. Let's look for load asset list. So there is, we search for load, we have load asset list, takes an array of soft pointers, which we can convert. And I'm trying to remember exactly where it was. I might be thinking of something different. Let me quickly check. Okay, I couldn't remember the name. It's related to the bundle. So in our case, we want a specific bundle, which is that visual bundle that I mentioned. So we're going to do get asset bundle entry, and we want the visual bundle. So for the bundle scope, we also are going to need the weapon data asset. We need the primary asset ID, and then the bundle we want to get the information from is going to be visual. So this here returns a F asset bundle entry. So F asset bundle entry. Let's just call it weapon bundle. And if we take a look at it, we can kind of see here we have, the bundle name, bundle assets, which is deprecated, and we asset paths. So we want the asset paths. So this is basically the path to, whatever bundles we have marked as visual. So in this case, for this example, I'm going to go back to it so I can show you. We're loading the visual bundle. So we're going to load the asset path of whatever we define in this mesh. So if it was, for example, the BAR, like this here, the data asset for the BAR has the mesh to this BAR, which points to this asset. So it's quite literally this path. So it's the path to this asset, and we can load it and access it like basically anything else. So what we want to do is we want to grab the asset paths. So because again, a bundle can be multiple assets, we can have multiple asset paths. So we want to iterate over these. So F asset, it wasn't F asset path, what was it? F top level asset path. So for F top level asset path, let's do weapon, or let's just do asset path in weapon bundle dot asset paths. So this will allow us to access the path to each asset. And if we look at this asset path, we can see we have basically the path to string. If we look at that, where am I at? Okay, well, that doesn't actually show us much, but basically the string is the path, so to speak. So if we do, for example, asset path dot to string, this return is the path to the asset. So we want to load this asset. Now we're already, I guess you could say, prematurely loading this into memory, so that way it's ready to go. So we can just do a synchronous load. So we need the U asset manager so we can access the streamable manager, in which case we can go ahead and do a load synchronous. And as you can see, sorry, we need to get the streamable manager like so, and then we can do a load synchronous, and the first parameter is the solved object path. So in our case, the asset path. And it auto converts for us. And then we can have the remainder of the parameters, which we honestly do not care about. Oh, I stand corrected. Asset path.toString, sorry. And if we look at what this returns, it returns a U object, so a pointer to the asset that it just loaded. So in our case, we specifically want a skeletal mesh. So if we have, additional meshes or something like that that are under visual, it's kind of difficult to really tie in, what is what. But in our case, if you skeletal mesh, let's call it the weapon mesh, and just wrap that in an if statement. So now we just need to cast this to a skeletal mesh. And we now have our, weapon mesh. Once we have our weapon mesh, we can then simply grab the weapon mesh component and set it. So weapon mesh component, then we can set skeletal mesh asset to the weapon mesh. And that's it. So I know that might have been a fair bit, but it's not that complicated, and I'll walk you through it again here in a second. But basically, we have an array of data assets that are going to be pretty much the weapon bundles, the weapon data assets, like their definitions, because it contains the weapon meshes. Now, what we want to do is we want to go ahead and iterate over all of these. So basically, just whatever weapon we are on, essentially, we want to iterate load the visual bundle. So in our case, that visual bundle is this here, this mesh property. Once that mesh property has been, loaded, now it's not necessarily the mesh property, it's going to be whatever we mark as visual, but in our case, it's the mesh property. We can iterate over all the asset paths that it has, and in our case, it's only going to have a single one, and then we can cast it to a skeletal mesh. If that cast is successful, then we know that we are at least on a skeletal mesh, and we can set it, because it's most likely going to be only that weapon mesh in our case. So for now, we're also going to go ahead and do a break to jump out of the loop. So just in case we have multiple for whatever reason, we just want to jump out of it. But I'm not worried about that break at the moment. So now if we, that's right, we actually got to set it. So let's go to the mystery box here. Find our stuff. So here's our weapon data assets. We'll do 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's do the 1911. We'll do the BAR, STG, and Thompson. So let's save, press play, and we should see them cycling through, just like that. So they're going to continue to cycle until we are basically done. But we do in fact know that we have everything we need, at least being loaded. So if I give this a try with 2 clients, we should see a pretty similar result. So we can see them cycling and all that, just like so. Now, I don't really care about the cycling order or anything like that. What I primarily care about is going to be things like what weapon do we end up on? Because I don't want the client to really say set that. So the client's just going to be running, including the server actually, this logic here. The server is going to have a predetermined firearm or weapon out of this array to use. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Once, the server has reached the top, which we can check right here by just basically checking distance or whether or not the F factor equals, that value, then we know that the weapon is at the top and the server can simply set the value. So we're going to have to work on all that in the future. I'm not too worried about going into depth on that. So yeah, I'll leave that for the next video and I will see you then. If you like what I'm doing and you want to help support me, you can find a link to my Patreon in the description below, where you can also get early access to this entire series.